Today we are going to look at what you need to know about your career journey, and we're going to do that through a past, present, future reading. So what I typically do for these readings is I actually pull 4 cards and look at the bottom of the deck. So the first card represents the past, the second card represents the present, the third card represents the future, and the fourth card represents advice. And bottom of the deck represents kind of like overarching, or you could also say like underlying influence of the entire journey. So my past, present, future readings are less about anything being predictive, and it's more about we assume that you're moving, or how do I want to put it? It's just more about getting information. So it's almost like any card that I pull is a positive card because it's relaying information. So this is less about like, tell me the future, and more about what information do we need to move towards a better future, to move towards better in our career. So I hope that makes sense. We're going to pull the cards now. Again, I'll pull 4 cards and then I'll do a little shuffle and then look at the bottom of the deck. So this is card 1. Just a sec, I think I need to take a breath. Card 1, please. Card 2. It's over here. Sorry, I'm second guessing myself for some reason. So let me just take a breather and ground. I usually shuffle to get the cards, so this is just a little different way for me. Card 2, please. There it is. Card 3. And card 4. It's not it. Sorry. Okay, one moment, please. Card 4, please. There it is. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me with that. These feel accurate though now. Okay, so we have our 4 cards. This is past, present, future advice. I'm going to flip them all at once, but before I do that, I'm going to give the deck a little shuffle, and then we're going to look at the bottom of the deck for the what is it? Overarching, underlying influence. Sometimes I say underarching. Okay, one more shuffle here. There we go. So we'll start with the bottom of the deck. Ooh, the Magician's at the bottom. How fun. Now let's flip all the cards. Card 1 is 5 of Cups in reverse. Card 2 is Death in reverse. Card 3 is 7 of Pentacles in reverse. And card 4 is Temperance in reverse. All in reverse. So let me just take a moment with this. Wow, it's really a beautiful reading. Look at this Magician right away. That pink that's coming through, that's in my nails and in this rose. Wow, that feels really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to take a breath on these cards. Give me one moment. The first thing that's coming to me is that these reversals are inaccurate, especially since they're all in reverse. I read reversals intuitively, and I am getting the strong sense that these are supposed to be upright. So I'm going to flip those now and then take a moment with everything upright here and see what wants to come through. Okay. Okay, wow. I love this story. I love this reading, I should say, and I'm excited to try to speak out the story that the cards are telling me. So let's start with the first card, the 5 of Cups, which represents your past. So we asked, what do you need to know about your career journey? And we're getting the information to come through through the lens of looking at past, present, future energies, right? So clearly there was something in your past that was disappointing. And this could have been tangibly disappointing, or you could have had maybe like financial success, but it was certainly emotionally disappointing. So cups represent emotions, and 5 of Cups typically represent some sort of emotional disappointment. So regardless of whether you had financial success or not, there was some sort of disappointment that has you transmuting energy. So this emotional disappointment, whatever form it showed up in for you, it had you kind of like begin a quest, so to speak. And so you're now in the present, which is death. Now let's just take a moment here. Out of the 5 cards that came up, so we have 4 cards in the bottom of the deck. 3 of the 5 are major arcana: Death, Temperance, and the Magician. So and as I'm just like looking, look at how dark these cards are too, and not in like a bad way, but I think it's like representing space. Like there's something about space here. And I don't mean like outer space necessarily, but just like space, the void, something there. But going back to major arcana, what I was saying about that is the way that I interpret major and minor arcana is typically like when major arcana shows up, our choices have a more minor impact. When minor arcana shows up, our choices have a more major impact. So when major arcana shows up, that doesn't mean we should just like go into victim mode and yield our power. But what it does mean is there's something bigger at play here. There is divine timing happening. There's something that, there's just something bigger at play. And that's definitely what I'm getting with your career journey. So let's just like take a breath on that. I think sometimes when it's difficult when we start a journey from a place of disappointment, right? But let's be honest, most of us start all of our worthwhile journeys from some sort of disappointment, because this is the energy, the Five of Cups energy is what oftentimes gets us to move, gets us to take chances, gets us to heal, gets us to transmute, right? And so although in the past, things with your career might have been disappointing and difficult, I'm also getting the sense here that there is some sort of really beautiful works in place. And not just in the tangible sense in terms of what you are doing for work, but the underlying influence of why you're being asked to go on this journey with your career, transmute this energy. Because with three major arcana showing up, there's clearly a bigger purpose behind it. So I say all that hopefully to give you a little relief as you're in this season of moving away from the Five of Cups into death. Now let's talk about death a little bit, because death can seem like a scary card, but to be honest with you, it is I believe it's one of the most powerful cards in the deck, and often one of the most positive cards in the deck as well, because death is required for any sort of rebirth. So I love seeing this progression from Five of Cups to death, because that is showing me that you really have already made major strides forward in your career journey, whether or not you're seeing that externally yet. Energetically, in terms of like the unseen, in terms of healing that needs to be done, changes that need to be made in the unseen, you've done a ton of work already. So let's just like take a breath, honor you for that, because going from the Five of Cups to death is a really positive and powerful shift. So death is as it sounds. Death is death. Death is a willingness to lay down old versions of yourself, old patterns. And I think there's a space, like I said, that's being created with the death. Because look at, it's really interesting that this is kind of like a bright card. It's got a lot going on, right? And in this particular reading, it's not giving me great vibes. There's sort of like an emotional chaos going on, or the vibes it's giving me with this card, with the Five of Cups. But then we go from that, I mean, like, look at this stark contrast. We go from this colorful, but again, like it feels emotionally chaotic, to this very dark card, space, right? So you're in a season, this is your present, you're in a season where you are laying down old ways of being, old ways of doing, old ways of thinking, old ways of seeing. And that is making all the difference in the world. And I love that then this darker energy kind of carries out. Because again, in this reading, it's definitely not giving me like negativity vibes. It's giving me a calmer sense. It's like, look at this transmutation that you've done. Like, again, beautiful card, but the energy, it's not giving me a calm, grounded energy. It's giving me emotional chaos that's leading to emotional disappointment. This is giving me calm, groundedness, space. It's really, really beautiful. And then like, look at the Magician card. It kind of brings back some of that color, but it's in a more grounded sense. Let's talk about the Magician card really quick. So this is the underlying, I was going to say underarching again, underlying, overarching influence of this whole journey that you're on. So this journey that you're on with your career is essentially for this purpose, or this is one of the purposes, and it's the Magician card, which is just so beautiful. The Magician, as you can see in this representation of it, it holds, so it holds all the suits of the tarot. So here's the sword, wand, pentacles, cups. And each suit of the tarot has a different symbolism. So swords can represent clear thinking, clear-cut energy, boundaries, strategy, things of that nature. And they certainly represent it when the swords are upright in a vertical sense. Usually that's representing a really high embodiment of that sort of energy. When they're horizontal or diagonal, that typically represents some sort of chaos. So look at here in the Magician, just strong energy. And here we have the wands. Wands represent more fiery energy, passion, creativity, things of that nature. Pentacles is really grounded. It's like earth energy. Pentacles is, and another way to put this, swords is air, wands is fire, pentacles is earth, and cups is water. So pentacles is literally just like how you navigate yourself as a physical human, how you get your physical needs met. And cups is water energy. Cups are emotionality, how you deal with your emotions. So the Magician is this really beautiful card of like bringing together all aspects of what it means to be a spiritual, emotional, physical creature and utilizing it in some of the best ways possible. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you, but I'm more and more coming to terms with the fact that, how do I put this? Well, there's this philosophy of learning that my husband's really into. So he knows a lot more about it than I do, but he shares different things about it with me, and it's called the ecological approach to learning. And so the whole premise of the ecological approach to learning is that our environment and our current life gives us essentially what we need to learn the next things we need to learn to move forward in our life. But it's up to us to see affordances that are available to us. So I love that word affordances, and that's really where I think I knew that word before, but I didn't think of it powerfully, and I didn't think of it in that sense until my husband more and more talked to me and told me about the ecological approach to learning. And so more and more I'm trying to see my life through the lens of affordances, and I'm trying to see my progress through the lens of affordances, and I'm trying to see my success and my abundance through the lens of affordances. So what I mean by that is, instead of making the assumption that I don't have everything I need and I have to fill a void or fill a hole, I try to make the opposite assumption. And to be fair, this is a big practice because this is not how we're trained by our culture, right? So I try to make the opposite assumption, which is that life is giving me everything I need now. And it's my job to unlock the affordance. So it's my job to I guess unlock the affordance is what's coming. And that's what's coming through strongly with the Magician. I think the overarching influence of this entire career journey that you are going through, you're being asked to go through, is to become skilled at unlocking affordances. Because I have to tell you, the more I think in this way, so let me back up a little bit. So now more and more, I literally wake up and I kind of say to myself, I wonder what affordances I'll unlock today. And ever since waking up in that way, I would say I unlock, on average, about 3 affordances every day, which sounds sort of weird, right? But it's real, just little big things in my work and my personal life that I'm like, oh, whoa, I didn't think of doing it that way. And now I will. So here's an example that is more energetic and symbolic, but maybe will help you understand. So my husband and I currently live in this farmhouse that's over 100 years old. And in our little garage, there is beams over our car. And a month or two ago, I noticed that there were 3 horseshoes hanging over the beams, over our car. And I just got this icky sense about them. Not in a scary way, but just whoa, I've lived here for almost 7 years and we've parked in this garage for that same amount of time. And I haven't noticed these upside down horseshoes. And suddenly one day I noticed them. And so I took them down, and now they're like, and then we like put them right side up, the three of them like above our front door. So again, this is more like symbolic and energetic, but it just felt really good to do that tangible change, right? But for 7 years, I didn't notice them. I didn't even see them, right? So this is like an example of affordances. I am, working to unlock, or I am unlocking every day. And again, some of them are much more tangible and strategic. They're not as like ethereal and symbolic, but that story kept coming to me. So I think there's this really, really powerful skill set that you're building. And it is the skill set of unlocking affordances. And I think there might not be any greater skill set to build in life than unlocking affordances, than shifting the assumption from life doesn't give me what I need, I have to fill a void, to I'm always fully, my gifts and next steps are always fully present, and it's my job to unlock it. Do you know what I mean? And so I just think, as difficult of a season as you may or may not be in, but Five of Cups to Death, like there's some processing that's going on here. And as difficult as that may be, I just want to give you the relief that you're clearly gaining skills in it, and like foundational skills, not just for lifelong success, but like lifelong, more healthy, joyful living. You know what I mean? Like unlocking affordances, having that skill set isn't just about, what you do for work and being strategic in your work. Like it's about like, oh, if I unlock affordances, like I can unlock affordance. Sometimes in my day, I unlock affordances of just like how I structure my day, or different ways to like save time, or different ways to like sequence things where it's more productive, or it's helps me get things done. Do you know what I mean? So there's just like this powerful, powerful skill set in this. And I did not expect all this to come through, but so there's this game. It just keeps coming to me strongly. It's called That's Pretty Clever. It's like a dice game, like a roll and write game. And my husband and I played it for like a year straight. We played it like every night. We just were in love with this game because it was helping. It's like a powerful way, because what we came to terms with this game is like, you're really good at it if you are aware of like the power of sequencing. And if you're aware, and part of that is like seeing affordances. And so this game, like as silly as it sounds, like I think it helped us rewire our brain to see affordances and to think about sequencing, the power of sequencing. And so if that resonates, you should definitely check out the game. It's just a fun game. But I also think there's like power to it in terms of helping you with that skill. So that could just be a fun way to build your magician skill. And then look at this, the Four of Wands just slid out. Like, look at that. How beautiful. Oh my God, look at how this plays off of the colors of the flowers, the light purple and okay, so Four of Wands, what a beautiful sign. Four of Wands is often considered like the 1111 card because it kind of looks like 1111, which is like wish fulfillment, but beyond that, more just like kind of validation you're on the right path. So as like difficult again as Five of Cups into Death can be, what wants to be said is you are on the right path. You are building skill sets, and this is important. Do you know what I mean? And let's talk about these flowers for a moment, since like the coloring came out here. This rose is in a bush in my yard, but these flowers, I'm like, I don't even, they were in the ditch on my walk, and like they just called to me, and it was so interesting. They were all on the same stem, and there was like three of them, these three, so they look very different. I mean, somebody who knows flowers might be like, yeah, of course, this is, a common thing to be in the ditch. But I was like literally blown away, and they like called to me. They wanted to be cut. So part of that is like being sensitive to affordances, right? Like a few years ago, before I have this channel, or let's be honest, a few months ago, I just started this channel recently. I didn't have my eyes out, or I didn't have my feelers out for beautiful ditch flowers. Do you know what I mean? But now it's like I can feel them call to me, and even in my own garden, in my own yard, like this rose, for example, last night, it just like called to me. I'm walking in from our car, and I just like see it. It was like, you know, longer on the bush, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do a reading with that rose. So there's, again, I bring all that up because there's this sensitivity that you're building, and yours is going to be different than mine. Like mine apparently now is being talked to by flowers. But you have your own unique path and your own unique, you know, tangible skills and work that you're doing, but you're building the skill of, again, noticing affordances, unlocking affordances, which is really, really, really powerful. And a lot of building that skill involves a willingness to let go of the things in the way of that skill, the death card. You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of heavy baggage that we bring in terms of past unresolved traumas, but also then in terms of just like how we think, our neurology and the pathways we've created in our brain. And so there's like an invitation to understand how neuroplastic you are, and how you're really truly in a powerful season of letting go of some of the more like, what's the word? It's like rigid. That's the word that wants to come through. The kind of rigid pathways in your brain and how you work. You're kind of dissolving that right now, so that you're going to be able to build stronger, more healthier pathways that support your goals and dreams. So it's really, really beautiful. So let's move on now to the Seven of Pentacles. Now, when I was sitting with these cards, I got the sense, I did have some intuitive things come through, but what came through the strongest was to read one particular tarot reader's interpretation of the Seven of Pentacles. And I'm not exactly sure why, but we're going to pull it up here. So this, if you go to crystal-reflections.com, you can find this woman's interpretation of tarot. She's one of my favorite people to learn about how she interprets the cards from. You know, with every tarot card, there's like a million different ways you can interpret it, and I think it really depends on the reader and the reading. But I do really like, oftentimes, her interpretations. I'm not exactly sure why this particular interpretation wants to be read in this reading, but it's very clear that it does. So I'm going to read that now. Okay, so she says, Seven of Pentacles says you are experiencing a cycle of change that will affect your income for the better. Hallelujah, right? Break through the blocks that prevent you from achieving your highest potential. Wow, that's wild. That's kind of like what I was just saying with the death card. So we could say break through the blocks, or another way to say it would be just kind of like dissolve the rigidity a little bit, soften the rigidity a little bit, so that you are more able to unlock the affordances. Okay, break through the blocks that prevent you from achieving your highest potential. Free your talents by shedding the weight of any psychological or emotional resistance. Wow, and that's exactly what you're doing. Wow, that is wild. That is exactly what you're doing. So like I said, this felt like emotionally chaotic, but anything that's emotionally chaotic, there's emotional resistance there. And look at, from Five of Cups to the Death card, you really are shedding that. Wow, kudos to you. You're already en route here. Okay. Move through your old fears of failure, evaluate the results of your efforts, assess your mistakes so that you can learn from them. Be patient. The cycle is changing and rearranging your life. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's so crazy. And like, look at, I mean, not only is it rearranging your life in terms of like the, like a foundational skill set that you're building, but then let's talk a little bit here about the Temperance card. So when I do past, present, future readings, and I do them with 4 cards, so again, past, present, future, and then the 4th card represents advice from Spirit. What I kind of think of it as is then the card 3 and 4. So the future plus advice from Spirit are essentially the energy that needs to be embodied to move things forward. Does that make sense? So when she said, Let's see here. Be patient. The cycle is changing and rearranging your life. I really thought of the temperance card because temperance to me is a big card of healing. So it always, in some way, shape, or form, represents healing. But it's healing through a rebalancing. That's the main symbolism that resonates with me with the temperance card. So it's a healing through tangible rebalancing. And then I think that's interesting because it's a Pentacles card plus the temperance. And Pentacles, again, are like the more earthy energy. They're the tangible aspects of life. So there's some rebalancing happening that I think is really healthy with the tangible aspects of life. And if you allow it to be a catalyst for your healing and do some intangible healing, I think there's a lot of power here. So I'm going to read the way she puts it one more time, and then we'll finish off with the, it's just, look at this, 111. That's cool, right? So the way that she puts it one more time, and then we'll finish with the Seven of Pentacles reading here. So be patient. The cycle is changing and rearranging your life. Yes. You will know growth through good, honest effort and hard work. Oh, that's kind of what we just said, isn't it? You are in the process of making a major decision. There will be a welcome change in your financial situation, so stop worrying. So take a breath on that. That's nice to hear, right? Meaningful work gives more than material benefits. You grow as you experience a moment of looking back with satisfaction on something you have accomplished, knowing that what you have built has reached the point that it can grow by itself and you can step back from it without it collapsing. Use the energy of your fears, quote unquote fears, to propel you forward. Concentrate your strength. Act with will and determination. Yeah, well, and it's kind of use the energy of your fears to propel you forward. I think you've almost already done that to a certain extent because, as I mentioned at the beginning, this whole powerful, important journey that you're on started with acknowledging the emotional chaos and disappointment. And that may sound like, well, yeah, great. But honestly, yeah, great, because a lot of people just stay in this. They don't acknowledge the emotional chaos and disappointment, and they don't do things tangibly and intangibly to change that. And so that's progress in and of itself. And you're already like embodying a lot of this. And so, one of the messages is just keep going. You're doing a great job and you're just in process. Okay, let's finish this off now. New cycles and directions based on previous achievements, such as the harvest, which must save part of the crop for seeding next year's planting, as opposed to the total new beginnings of the aces. Oh, so that's also like hopefully some relief here too, because what it's saying is you're not like a newbie. Do you know what I mean? And even if you are starting an entirely new direction, the emotional creature that you are, the emotional maturity you bring, the life experience you bring is, you don't have to embody that newbie energy. There's some maturity that you already have in place, that you can kind of just understand is there, so you understand you have a nice safety net in place and you're not starting from nothing. Here are the material results of hard physical work and the shifting of from one aspect of a task to another, as in from farming to harvesting and storage. A shift from one job to another within a company or a given field. There is abundant supply, enough for reserves, ample food supply. Inventory, taking stock of material worth. Savings, investments, good returns of a fund drive. A healthy budget for the next phase. Harnessing of yet harmony with nature. That's nice, right? Harnessing of and harmony with nature, because that's beautiful, because I think as human beings, we really are in a place where we need to wake up collectively and personally with the fact that when we are out of alignment with Mother God's principles and Mother Nature's principles, life is very hard. But when we're in alignment with Mother God's principles and Mother Nature's principles, there's a beauty and an ease to that. Not that effort doesn't still need to be applied, but there isn't like this intense striving that's needed, or any sort of exploitation or win-lose agreements that are needed. And so how beautiful that this is in your future, because I think that's what's being requested of all of us right now, is to move towards more alignment with that. And you clearly are, which is huge. Okay. A ripeness, maturity, and a preparedness, an advanced level of establishment. Cycles of security over a number of years. Physical and material, worldly experience. Oh, that's what we really talked about already, didn't we? Here's the professional, one who knows the ins and outs of their livelihood and has become inseparable from it. Oh, that's nice too, because I think when our career is, you know, like in its highest form, you could say, I think there's an integration with work and life. Do you know what I mean? So there isn't this like huge fragmentation. There's much more of an integration. So clearly you're en route to that more, which is important and exciting as well. Let's see. Aspects of real property and real estate, a good season in business, especially retail, a significant stature has been achieved at this point. Aristocratic in all the good sense of the term. Questions to answer. What is growing and maturing that you are concerned about? Number 2, what do you fear will fail or be spoiled? Number 3, what mistakes did you make in the past what mistakes did you make in a past similar situation, and what can you do differently now? Number 4, what investments have you made in time, money, or labor that you worry about? Number 5, how have your efforts been worthwhile? And then when it's in the third position, it says, prepare for the harvest time or for the new planting, as this represents the cusp of revigoration. Oh, how nice. Summon the maturity of your wealth of experience, for this is a turning point, a new direction for the course you have already begun. Collect the assets that are yours, claiming all debts that are due. An increase in material appetite is appropriate, albeit with greater selectivity. That's so nice. So I just have to say, I think, I don't do past, present, future cards as predictive, and I do feel like this is a nice sign. You know what I mean? We all kind of just need nice winks from the universe, especially as we navigate stuff like this, 5 of Cups to death. And so I think you're wanting to be validated in your journey. I feel like you're definitely on the right track, and the messages just keep going. And there's so much beauty ahead, not just in terms of like the future card, but again, the skill set that you're building, the underlying influence, the foundational thing that you're changing as a result of being willing to go on this journey with your career, is really, really beautiful. So thank you so much for tuning in and allowing me to read for you. This was a really, really fun reading to do. I'm really excited for you. I'm sorry if you're in the midst of the void and a difficult time in the shedding of layers and the shedding of past selves. And kudos to you for being willing to do it, because it's clearly what is opening up an entirely new experience of life and work.